So we'll take roll call. Mayor Mila Bessinger is excused, as well as Councilmember Gilbert Aguilar and Councilmember Vanessa Navarrete. Bruce Farmington? Here. Olga Lopez?
Present.
Steve Statico? Here. And myself, we have a quorum. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for the prayer. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, and Lord, we thank you for the rain. We know that we need it. And Father God, we are blessed by it. Keep us safe as we're driving around in this rain. Father God, I ask that you would be with us during this meeting. Open our minds to hear and understand everything that is said. Give us wisdom in our decisions. We thank you for blessing us on this time. We thank you for watching over everything that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, tonight we'll start off the meeting with a special presentation by Micro Home Project, presented by Maria Kelly and Elizabeth Singleton.
Good evening, Council. My name is Maria Jelly. I am a local business owner here in town. I'm also a resident of Superior. I am the Government Affairs Director for Western Canal Association Realtors, along with West Maricopa. I also work in conjunction with CARA, which is our community action for the business sector of things, and helping the new study coming in for affordability of homes coming into the state of Arizona and Pinal County. I spoke with our manager of the town, Todd, probably about 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, and he had stated, we had already looked at it as the study needed for housing in Superior, and because he knew a little bit more about what I do in my business, I had stated to him, we could work on bringing in some additional housing for the community, and this is just a sample of something that we're able to bring to the forefront for Superior in a pretty short amount of time if it's something that the town is really looking for. I have spoken with Mr. Pryor a couple of other times as well, looking at different alternatives for housing, and we also looked in reference to the hotel going in that they want to put here in town to bring people for that as well. But today I did bring in Elizabeth Singleton. She is a client of mine. She's also somebody who is very reputable in the Arizona housing. She has spoken at Arizona Department of Housing Authority last June and is very well versed in this subject. So I would like to introduce Elizabeth Singleton and Singleton Communities.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Council, for having me. Again, my name is Elizabeth Singleton. I am the president of Build Us Hope, and I'm also the CFO of Tiny House Builders. The presentation that I'm going to be presenting to you today is regarding, now I still call it the Megamind, some land that they were going to offer to Habitat for Humanity, but in turn, Habitat was unable to take that property, and that is some of the property that we're looking at. My presentation is basically going to start off kind of like an introductory to who we are, and then talk a little bit about the project. So I didn't have an outline. It didn't come with it. So I kind of addressed how we're going to go through our presentation today. So Build with Hope is the building arm of Singleton Community Services. I, Elizabeth Singleton, again, is the founder of that, and we focus on building affordable housing for individuals, not just on a homeless sector. Is we build affordable quality housing in order so that individuals will not go homeless, and then we also focus on the needs of housing. Currently, right now, our state needs about 200,000 affordable housing units, and we started to focus on one niche of that housing component, which was looking at tiny homes. I'm a national speaker. I've also have spoken at the White House. I wrote some of their urban revitalization plans for community development. And then our program also provides HUD guidance for tiny house communities. And again, some of the projects that mentioning that. So we also we're affordable housing advocates. We were the first tiny house community to give a tiny house presentation at a Department of Housing of any kind forum. So it's something that our community is truly building on. And then we are the first tiny house builders we built the first tiny house community for veterans in the state, which is located in Phoenix. And so if anyone wants to tour that, we can definitely make that available for you. And my son serves as well, so I'm a Blue Star mom. These are our sponsors as a nonprofit and our for-profit. So we work with a full team of developers, architects, and community leaders. We do a lot of work in the community with ASU. We have full students that intern for us. They helped us build our first tiny house project. We also work with the Phoenix School Union as a partnership for their with their STEM and construction departments, and we provide housing training. They're the first ones to start building tiny home projects in the state. And then we work with also homeless and, I'm not homeless, but underdeveloped and mentally ill individuals, and providing workforce and training for development. And then we are big into volunteering within our community. That was something that was spoke up with Habitat for Humanity. We are big into allowing the community to be involved in builds, but with this sector of what we're building, these opportunities are coming as mostly commercial built, but would have opportunities for individuals if they would like to help in the building. So, yeah. So what we're looking at, the purpose of the projects that we're looking at is to build affordable housing. We're looking at models of around $45,000 to $85,000 on a sale market for the house to be built, with an average of 500, well actually 300 to 600 square feet on the homes. So in order for us to sell off in the market, we have to be able to build the homes at 500 square feet. But if we are going to have a rental market of the homes, we would leave them underneath that, in the average of 300 to 400. This is the area that we are currently looking at. And I'm sorry, I can't see the roads from here. The roads line here. Yes.
Yeah, we have Crow Creek. We also have Rainbow up at the right top, and then the other part coming down like Canal and Crow Creek area.
And so the area that we're looking at to build the homes is about 8 to 10 acres that was offered to have a new build there. This is just a design quickly of a tiny house. This is actually 5 acres. When we first got it, it appeared to be 10 acres. But on each acre, depending on what the codes are, and we're looking at the sizes, They've changed a little bit of what we can actually get on the properties themselves, so we're still looking at each property to see how many tiny homes would be able to fit on this. And when I speak of tiny homes, I don't mean the ones on wheels. We're focusing on tiny houses on foundation. So these would be looking at the model areas that we can see here to blend in, to bring a little modernization to the homes. But these are the structures that we would be looking at and building. So again, these run from 300 to 600 square feet. And the larger, there's a 5-acre piece, and we would look at more producing on a pocket-style community for the tiny house. The smaller, I think the smallest one that we've seen was about 9,000 square feet. So we would look at maximizing the space that would create an affordable housing. It uses as much of that land space as we can for permitting. So there's different types of site models out there. These are other communities that have developed on tiny homes. And most of the time when you hear on tiny homes, you hear tiny houses on wheels. In speaking with the mayor, that was something that she was not looking for. She would prefer them on foundation. So these are foundation models. Again, to give you a more perspective of what they would look like. These are 399 square feet. This is a project that we proposed to Tempe. So you can kind of get a visual of some of the designs. Now we went with that community request, so it was kind of like this Santa Fe, I think that's what that's called, look. Not my preference. I'm kind of, I like the little houses, the gables and wood, and you know, but this is what that community looked like. This project is down the line. Tempe did go with another organization, but they decided just to not build it there. It was just a location that had a lot of too many issues to be able to have it built there. If I'm going too fast, just let me know. And this is just giving you some floor plan designs. This would be a 2-story. If we were to build that, you would be able to put a full bedroom and a loft, or 2 bedrooms in a 2-story. And then this is a 2-bedroom, and this is at 588 square feet. So you would still be able to have plenty of space and living. So what we looked at in the models, as much space as we can get. If you stay under a tiny house is considered 400, well, anything under 400 square feet is a tiny home. Anything above 400 and 600 square feet is considered a micro home. So this is the tiny house community that we built in Phoenix. This is for unsheltered veterans. So most of the veterans that moved into this location, they were working poor or they were working unhoused. And this is, again, the first tiny house community in Arizona that is geared for veterans. This is when we're in our process of building, so we wanted to make sure we can make it as sustainable as possible, adding solar, gray water systems, living gardens. So the walls, gardens in these homes are, all the fencing, they're basically living gardens. And we really wanted to focus on how we could sustain this site, and it would also sustain the veterans that live there. So this is what it looks like after completion. And again, if you would like to tour it, we definitely could set that up for you. So our construction company that we have partnered with, as far as I'm a developer as well, is BAM. They have been around for 16 years, and they have been in partnership with us for over 6 years. So they would be, on our larger projects, they would be the one assisting us on the builds. A tiny house project, depending on the size, each tiny home takes 5 to 6 weeks to complete. We looked at the projects that we had in turn. We would be able to complete the full project of the 10 acres within 6 months. And as you see the timelines here, we don't have direct timelines because it started off at 5 acres and 10 and 20, so we were kind of in the mix, and then it went down back to 10. So this is just a little bit about the affordability of tiny homes, and as far as rental or home ownership. Tiny houses is not a trend right now. It is actually, the trend is the 2,000 square foot homes. People are moving back down to a smaller platform. Tiny houses have been able to create a more affordable, sustainable solution long-term for individuals, and the market prices that they've been able to be built in. Again, we're looking at between $45,000 and $85,000 in the sell price. So tiny house also are very efficient. Again, the low cost is environmentally friendly. The housing operations, so right now on some of the tiny houses we're building is less than $50 to $90 a month. You're spending more on your service fees than you are for the actual uses of services there. So currently, the type of individuals who are gearing for tiny houses between 20 to 65 years old. The average income is about $42,000. Again, when we look at affordability, it's just not homeless housing, it's also homes that we can be able to afford. Val School District was in need of housing, and they moved to a market of looking at tiny houses to be able to fill their need for long-term housing and filling up land space use so they have small infill properties and just revitalizing their community. So the average square foot home, the average home about 15,000 square foot is nationwide is $300,000, where the average of a tiny home is about $40,000.
So what we're looking at here, as far as creating the community of the micro homes, bringing that in to where it's more self-sufficient. If we build them at 500 to 600 square feet, we're able to get the FHA, VA, and regular financing for them. So people that don't have the cash to purchase them would be able to get the financing side along with some VA financing. We are contacting quite a few of the veterans. We are authorized to actually sell to veterans because there's an authorization to do that for housing as well. First, large communities of the micro tiny homes. What this is overall across the country, we're building what we call the micro and tiny homes. They're coming in. Right now we have a very large, a very large network of buyers and people wanting to downsize from their regular home that they cannot afford anymore coming into that. But this is more of looking at our rental market. We work directly with Pinal County Housing. Right now we have 5,600 families that are on the waiting list right now for housing in Pinal County. We also have about 68% of them have jobs. So no housing, but everybody's got a job, majority of them. So when we look at those two things, Pinal County Housing has really supported this movement as well, bringing people together. We know that there are some families that are a little bit larger and need something larger than 600 square feet. But what we're doing here in Superior is taking the homes that are dilapidated and bringing in other companies or other individuals to come in and remodel those, make them larger properties for those families to go into it, and actually bring these in to actually house the 1, 2, and 3, part of the family coming in a little bit smaller piece. New visitors and so forth. We did a home show that was in Phoenix last year, and we have, and I know it's going to sound outrageous, but Right now, I have a list of close to 10,000 looking for this in the state of Arizona. So what I am looking at with this is that, do we have a very large network? Yes. Is it something that's feasible? Yes. Is it something that Pinal County throughout all of Pinal County is looking for? Yes. The one thing is that I am basically wanting to start this because she's technically on 2 other projects. I want to bring this to Superior first. That's the goal. I live here, I own the bakery here, I'm part of this community. I want to be able to bring this here first where we have housing here and to bring people here to build our housing and our economy. Right now, hold on really quick. Right now, we are looking at, 2 other projects, one being in Casa Grande and another one being in like the Coolidge area possibly. And for us, that's what we're looking at, doing something here first. That's why we're asking you to look at this to see if it's something that Superior really wants to do. The new construction of building with local jobs, we're looking at bringing local people in to actually do the work. Kind of like what we're doing with the remodels, the property on Pro 3, the 2-story building that Scott and Deckel are doing that we went through last month. They are bringing in local people as well to work on those, to build more jobs here for people. Create opportunities for volunteerism. There are going to be volunteers that are going to be coming in from a local level, and maybe Rebuild Superior can help with that as well to bring a little bit more infrastructure to it. Really can't see the bottom, I'm sorry. Thanks.
So one thing about what tiny houses bring, I'm going to go back up to the tourism that it would bring to the community. The amount of land that was available in this package would consist, if it was to be built out, to be one of the largest tiny home community or communities development size. So tiny homes itself attracts a lot of individuals just from state agencies to people who want to build or live in that area. It's a full attraction whenever we do events alone, like Maria said. We get a numerous amount of people contacting us, but just even in some of our pre-sales and our pre-conversations, the amount of people, again, when we first opened the first even tiny home community, you couldn't even work. As so many people wanted to either buy it or get involved, so it will bring a lot of tourism customers out to Superior. The enhancement of communities, and we looked at some of what Superior's goals were. This would take out some of the blight areas that the lands, near the lands and by the lands, and help improve the living conditions around that. So when we spoke to Todd, what he wanted to know was what the ask was from you. The mines have stated that they're willing to donate the land to Superior, and in turn, the town of Superior would donate it or sell it to the nonprofit. And the best way and model that we have seen is through the Department of Housing. Cindy, the director there, sent over an application that was approved through Habitat for Humanity, where they had groups of land donated to them, and they were able to sell that back off to Habitat for Humanity for $10 to $100 a parcel. So that is the ask that we're asking for the town to do, is to be able to receive that land and then be able to donate it back to us. That's what the conversation was. That was the conversation was. So we were still trying to work on some of how we would be able to work that out.
And we're still early days in that conversation, primarily because I have no guarantee from VHB they're willing to give us the land. So we will continue to work with VHB and find out if it's a real possibility. I have not been getting great reads from them on this project so far, so this sort of background information will help us sell it. So as we work to develop this, we'll bring something back to council for action. Right now, I don't have anything for you to act on, but we will keep working.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, we look forward to something that happens.
Yeah, I think we've discussed at our retreats, the housing crisis we have here for livable houses and affordable housing, and this is something that I think we all look forward to.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
I have a question, I don't know, Maria might be better to answer this. Is Pinal County, or Superior for that matter, are we authorized gray water systems?
Now County does.
Pinal County does, but,
We would have to get that through your council to.
okay.
The town does, the gray water, the only reference to gray water in the town is you can have a system, but it can't cross your property line. So gray water
This would
system,
be, since this would probably be, well, I guess I don't know how it really sets up, but would each property have its own gray water system in terms of the use of the water?
And that would be optional, so that's the way that we set up that house, the housing, we've built other ones that don't have those systems on there, so it's gonna be based on, kind of, if we can have gray waters, in some of the for-sale ones, we probably will not, that would be an option, to have the gray water systems, and if that's something that you guys would be definitely interested in seeing these more at a net zero, we definitely would be able to do that.
that's also an item that has a very strong history in Superior. Everybody who's owned a house in Superior knows there's cisterns everywhere that we use for gray water.
Well, I would imagine, as I recall, years ago, 20 or more years ago, there was a lot of gray water systems.
Maria, there's currently a tiny house across from your store. Is that one of yours or is that somebody else's?
That's my client. Yeah, and it's not really actually put on there yet. It's just, he's trying to get a layout of how he wants to develop that piece of land. He purchased the land, that's Darren Lewis Construction. He has purchased several properties here in town and remodeling them and selling them back out to the communities. He is looking at putting probably close to 7, because he owns the whole parcel that you put there. But he's still debating how he wants it to look, where he wants to go with that. And then once that's done, it would come back to council to decide. At the planning and zoning meeting last week, he did just state that he would be putting it there to just like an example of kind of what he's looking for. And we have had, I don't know how many people going into the bakery, like nonstop, you know, so people are very excited to see something happening in that area, especially on Canal. You know, it's been a long time since Canal's had any activity.
And there's been a lot there lately, so
Yes, yes.
thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you, we appreciate you guys coming and presenting. We'll now move on to staff reports. Mayor left me nothing to report. Todd, you have anything?
The 2 brownfield projects are completing. There was a change order on the one on Main Street because as we were digging it out, there's a huge retaining wall around the perimeter, but between the 2 buildings, there was about an inch thick wood retaining wall that was holding back the foundation for the neighboring building. So rather than remove it, they put compactable fill behind it and did it in lifts and compacted it so that the dirt would hold against the wall and keep it from collapsing. That cost an extra $11,000. The change order has been submitted to ADEQ and they have reviewed it mostly positively. I believe we're going to get that funded as well. We're still holding that as a receivable of about $120,000. And we are also waiting on, we discovered there's a slight delay in some resolution cover money from the ESC because there was a kind of a procedural problem on the resolution side, but hopefully we'll be getting that soon. Our accounts are still quite healthy, but we are currently holding about $250,000 in receivables, including the preliminary engineering report you see in front of you tonight. It's one of the reasons I hope to get it approved so that we can get it through and build out as quickly as possible so we can get that money back into the account.
All right, thank you. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are 1, approval minutes of the regular meeting from January 10th. Approval of meetings from special meeting on January 25th. Approval of alcohol permit for baby shower at the Nyma Club on February 23rd. Approval of alcohol permit for baby shower at the Magna Club on March 2nd. Approval for special event use permit, Superior Artisans at the Vestige Park on April 6th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Approval of letters showing the town of Superior supports the U.S. Forest Recreation or User Group Plan. Approval of the Town of Superior Multipurpose Brownfield Grant, application to the Environmental Protection Agency for assessment of hazardous substance in the south of Town of Superior. The requested amount is $400,000, and the department reports.
Making a motion to approve consent agenda items.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Okay. Move on to new business. First item on new business is approval of wastewater treatment plan preliminary engineering report update for February 2019.
This report is from one the preliminary planning grant that we received earlier in the year. It involved the complete assessment of the collection system and then a updated report reflecting the changes needed to fix anything they found. The collection system was actually in very good shape. They only found 4 manholes that they think really need to be fixed, 10 that could use some repairs. There are no lines that need to be repaired. We did take the opportunity to add a couple of alternates. Number one being utilities at the airport, and number two being a new collection system for our collection line for Terrace. And when the system was put in originally in the 70s, rather than putting a new line down to the main, they allowed a homeowner to tap into another homeowner's tap, which has caused, there's a 6-inch tap going into a 4-inch tap, which has caused a problem. So it needs to be removed and replaced with a new main. That project isn't that expensive. It's on here under the alternates. Page 25 is all the alternates. That is the, let's see. I'm not seeing it on the list for some reason. Oh, there it is. Sewer service connection with Loudon Terrace. That's a $39,000 alternate. The manhole repairs and rehabilitation added $107,000. The Star Road lift station, while the station itself has been mostly repaired, it needs a new roof and it needs a liner because the concrete itself is degrading a bit. So they suggest there are drop-in liners you can put in there. The pumps themselves and the actual equipment's in really good shape. We just replaced one of the pumps. The manhole repairs, they have most of these other alternates were on the previous report. The USDA has already done a preliminary assessment of this and has indicated they will fund all of the alternates, priority 1 and priority 2. That being the case, the suggested alternate for the overall modification has been changed. It's now alternate 3. The only difference between that is right now the system is designed so that the anoxic tank is divided into, and we have 2 complete systems that you can shut off and turn on. That allows us to service them and to phase up when we need it. The clarifier, which is the big round tank in the middle, is shared by both. The minor change is to put some pumping in so that if they need to work on a clarifier, they can pump it over to the second circuit and use it as a clarifier and allow them to down any segment of the tank so that there isn't one segment we can't work on. That's another $30,000, I believe, from the original option. So the base with all of the priority 1 alternates is about $1.5 million. With the addition of the priority 2 alternates, that takes us to about $2 million, which is exactly what we projected it would be and what we budgeted for this year for the payment. So that will be a 45% loan and 55% grant. That will be funded once this report is approved and in. Huh?
45% grant.
Yeah, 45% grant, so we get $900,000 and we have to finance about 1.2 million. There's a very long lifespan on that plant, so we can put quite a long loan on it, so we can get the payment down pretty low. I believe it's about $80,000 is what we anticipate. The plant is just about reaching break even, and we still have 2 years of rate increases to try to get it generating enough revenue so that it can make that payment without getting into the general fund. We have been financing the wastewater treatment plant out of the general fund for the last 20 years, but now it's getting to the point where without doing the improvements, it's about a break even. Next year, hopefully, we'll start generating a little revenue. The year after that, it will hopefully generate enough that it actually can pay its debt service without no problems. But over the next year, I've still put it as a general fund transfer to cover it. So the funding cycle has already started. So as soon as this report's approved by USDA, the application's already pending and for the full upgrade with RD Apply, which is the USDA application system, and they will fund it immediately. So within the next few months, we will be starting the process to hire an engineer and to start designing the final build out.
Council, any questions or comments?
Yes. We're not approving option 3 at this point, is that correct?
Option 3, you're not, what this report, if you look at the report, it suggests option 3 as the selected alternative.
Can you tell me why option 4 is not being recommended? I do understand it's more expensive.
They do have an analysis, if you look at it, why they selected option 3. And I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. I have to read it with you. If you look at alternative 4, I'll try to find that. It does say pros and cons. I'll try to find that. Alternative 3, alternative 4. The main reason that this one isn't suggested is it's the most expensive alternative. We're talking a $3.2 million upgrade. That's not counting the alternates, so it'll be near $4 million for the upgrade. Our debt service on that would be in the range of $160,000 a year. If they did suggest it, we couldn't afford it anyway.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, but I wanted to hear because I like the option. It would be, in the long term, I think it would be better for the town in the long term. I understand it would be expensive, but we can't afford it, we can't afford it.
Right now, we would have to do another analysis and another rate increase. And that I think is the only way we can afford it. And we couldn't phase in the rate increase, we would have to do it immediately. Jump probably another 30-40% on the largest adopted rate. So we'd have to get somewhere in the $35 range per in order to pay for the debt service.
What's the timeline now? What if we approve this?
If we approve this, then this finalizes the PPG grant, which is the $30,000 we got. We had to pay another $30,000, and that will allow us to close that grant out and bill that $30,000. The next process, USDA will consider funding this project. Because of the shutdown and some time delays, we're already into their funding cycle. So they have indicated they're going to fund all of this. We have a verbal,
45%?
Yes, it's a 45, it's a 45, 55, but yes, they will fund the whole project, the rest is a loan. So they will give us the entire amount. The timeline on that means if say we get funded in 2 months, we then have to post an RFQ, which will take 30 days minimum. We then have to select one that usually takes about 30 days. Then we hire an engineer. That engineer will begin design work. Now, that design work could take 6 months, a year, depending on the complexity of the design. And then construction would begin as soon as the contractors would then write the RFQ, or the engineers would write the RFQ for the hire of the contractor, and then we'd have to go out to the contractor. Usually, the last time we did this process with community development block grant, you go to the contractor, and there's such a premium on contractors that process was very painful. We had to drop a lot of the alternates. So be aware that still could be a consideration. If we get into the final bid and somebody comes back with $2.5 million, we have to save $500,000 somewhere, we may have to drop alternates. So, but USDA will be intimately involved in that because they are the funder, and they don't, once they fund a project like this, they don't back off and just let you at it. They will stay involved the whole way.
No other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the wastewater treatment plant preliminary engineering plan report update February 2019.
There's a motion by Councilmember Lopez, second.
I second the motion.
Second by Councilmember Armitage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. On to item B, possible approval request proposal for street light LED retrofit.
There are a number of communities around us in the same exact situation we are, which, to give a background, we have been notified that right now we own our poles and our lights. APS maintains them for us under a contract. We pay them about $12,000 a year to do that. We pay about $6 per pole per power every month, so a grand total of around $56,000 per year to maintain our streetlight system, which is 417 streetlights. We cannot, if we were to replace them one at a time, it would cost us $2,000 plus per light to replace them, because you're paying your mobilization and everything every time you do it. So it makes a lot more sense to do it all at once, so you can get the project done for, $250,000, $300,000. We don't want to have to pay that out of pocket, of course. So the way we accomplish that is we do a zero out-of-pocket project where McKinstry, Honeywell, sustainability partners have all approached us separately, trying to sell us on this because it's the big thing right now. You save so much on your power bills because the power goes from $6 a pole to $3 a pole. So that produces a $30,000 savings a year, which pays the debt service on all the upgrades. They pay for themselves within 12 years, and you own your new LED light system. Some of the things I've learned from other towns doing it is you want to make sure when you inspect the lights that you have the ability to turn down the intensity of the LEDs because they're much brighter. They don't radiate as far, but they are much brighter. And if they're in a residential community, you want the ability to go up with that pole and turn it down to about 50% so that the neighborhood stays happy with them. But we have no choice. If we can't keep the incandescents, APS doesn't stock them. Our only other option would be to find our own sources for these old lights and to buy a lift truck and have our employees do it. Our employees are overextended already. So it just makes sense to change them out, which is why I'm submitting this. It also will help in like the US 60 park, those are all street lights. The basketball court at this building, which is quite dim, those are all street lights. We replace those. The parks, one of the main things that came out of the park study was that nobody likes the lighting in our parks, they're too dim. So upgrading the LEDs in there will really help with that problem. One of the things we can also look at during the implementation is whether we'd like to add some smart lighting, which would be, we can do all sorts of things in smart lighting. But the thing that I would most like to do is integrated camera systems, so that at our parks, we can have cameras, so that if there are fights that break out or suspected drug activity, the policeman can pull that video, see what's happening, and go talk to people.
Illegal dumping.
Illegal dumping, absolutely. That's another, that lights, we have a camera pointing at that can. At night, it cannot catch you, the people there, it's that light that it's under. We actually moved it out directly under the pole, so we could try to get a better picture. If it's still too dim, we still can't catch it. So LEDs would really help with that problem.
Mr. Cooper, any opinion on the contracts with these guys? Because I mean,
Mayor, council members, this is basically a request for proposals of this, and there's a standard form contract that's there, and as your town manager said, there are quite a few vendors that are soliciting this now. There may be a vendor that's on the state contract, but basically, your town manager, rather than going to the state contract to find a supplier there, thought it best to basically give everybody a fair shot to look at it and see if there's a better deal that can be had out there.
Just what I worry about is they always say they're gonna save you money, and a lot of times that's not the case.
The contract will come to you for approval. This is basically getting the proposals and the standard form of contract. And certainly at that time, I'll certainly review the contract thoroughly to try to make sure that there's no loopholes or wiggle room out there so that we don't get what we bargained for. But they have put the LED lighting in Casa Grande in the area that I live in, and it's nice. You certainly do notice a difference in the light.
I would also say that I was cautious as well, which is why this has been sitting on my desk for almost a year. I did not want to be an early adopter. I want to see what everybody else did and how it worked out. There are several examples of other agencies and towns that have done it quite successfully. And McKinstry, one of the vendors, they've just done, I believe, Payson. And they're extremely happy. So I think that we can now have enough people to call, check references to see that those people are getting the deal that they were promised.
Okay, thank you.
Question?
Yeah, Todd, this lighting, I know it's for the town, will there be any lighting up at the Highlands?
Right now, I don't know that if there are any streetlights up there, are there?
There's not any, I was just wondering.
We would have to decide to add those, and that would be an additional cost. A straight one-for-one replacement, you can get down to no cost, but if we have to finance larger additions, then we'll have to come up with the money for that. I think there's probably, as we come into the project, we're probably going to want to add lighting to a few places. So, I don't know, the Highland, dark skies codes, people generally don't want them in these urban neighborhoods.
Yeah, we like being in the dark.
So, it would have to be something that we would vet with the location, with the people there. So I don't think we'd want to force it. That'll be a council decision for it.
I'll make a motion to approve request for proposal for streetlight LED retrofit.
Second. There's a motion by Councilmember Statico and a second by Councilmember Armitage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Do we have any call to the public at this time? Let Jim go up first.
So I've got two things real quick. For Lost, if you didn't know, last Friday, Lost had its first Hash Browns history and hiking. It was very successful. We got a real good response on it. Next one is March 8th, and it will be a hike to Canal City. I believe March 24th, Lost will inaugurate the new Arnett Canyon segment, so that's going on. Rebuild Superior is going to participate in Arizona Gives Day, which I believe is April 6th. It's early April. But I just wanted to say, since we were discussing Canal Avenue, all donations raised on Arizona Gives Day for Rebuild Superior will go to the Canal Avenue project.
Thank you. Jim came up before I got the list, so there are three individuals on here, and I just want to remind everyone that comments are limited to 3 minutes per person and shall be addressed to the town council as a whole and not to any individual member, and we cannot respond to your comments. So first up is Jill Ann Jack and Adrian Walter. Please state your name and your address, please.
I'm Jill and Jack. This is my husband, Adrian Walter. You can do it closer to the mic. Closer?
Or just you can pull it down.
That's all right. We both talk a lot and we tend to run on, so I'm going to read this, so it's less hassle for you. Underdog, Stance, County. That's us. For 7
Could you
years.
speak louder, please?
For 7 years, we continued to teach and work in inner city Houston. My husband would write grants and teach after-school programs to children, bilingual plays and such. After the 7 years, we became so popular that we no longer had time to fly home to teach because everybody loves bagpipes. So packed everything up, put it in storage, and been traveling since. Knowing that someday we would want to find a stopping place along the journey, we kept getting invited to Superior. Right there. So, we must say that we fall in love with Superior and the people here, and we would like to meet each one of you and get to know you and how we might be of service in Superior for all of you. That's us.
Welcome.
Happy to meet you.
Really just a hello announcement, not making a long night, for everyone.
We talk.
Thank you, welcome.
Glad you're here.
Thanks, that's too.
Next, we have Deborah Kay.
Beside the guys.
Hi, I'm the owner of the Mercantile and the art gallery, art gallery. Leslie Martin couldn't be here tonight, but we would like your support as a community. This is our first art festival of the Superior Artisans. The festival will be free to the Superior Artisans. We're not going to charge them for anything, but it's going to take place in the different places up and down Main Street. And we do have some things in Vestige Park that we'd like to do. So we're just asking for your support. We're financing this. Leslie's mostly financing this out of nonprofit. So we're just asking for you to come join us and support us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add, yeah, it's free to Superior residents, and we're kind of relying on businesses to provide spaces, and so far everybody's been really done well for us, so we're really happy that it's happening. I think it's going to be a good thing to promote the arts in Superior and maybe bring more tourists.
We right now have over 30 artisans that are going to participate.
What's the date?
It's April 6th. Yeah, I believe that. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Jelly. Is that right this time?
Hi, I just wanted to give an update in reference to another project that you had approved way back in October. On Main Street, 742, 743, which is right next to Arnold's, the old car dealership there. Brian Hatch is the one that purchased that property, and he had already gotten kind of approvals on everything. He has finished the survey, and he has finished phase 1 and phase 2. We will be coming back to the town to work on what he's going to be doing there. The units right now are about 650 square feet, and he has had his architect and everything done with that, but we will be bringing it back to the town fairly soon. Just wanted to give you an update in reference to that project.
Thank you. That's everyone that's listed on the list for call to the public. Is there anyone else that's not on the list that would like to come up? With no others, we'll move on to, we have no executive session, correct? No
Correct.
executive session. Summary of current events. Go ahead and start. Councilman Stead.
I just wanted to, the Superior Unified School District has signed a $1.2 million 4-year funding partnership with Resolution Copper. So I want to just give a shout out to them and thank them for all their support for us.
Thank you. Councilman Armitage.
I just wanted to thank Elizabeth Singleton for the microhome project presentation. And just saying that home housing in Superior is critical, and anything that provides housing for residents and future residents and prospective residents is appreciated. So I think you'll find that there's going to be a lot of support for this kind of a project. And I have nothing.
Thank you. Councilmember Lopez?
We just mentioned that the boys are competing in basketball this week, we'll be showing out. And then softball and baseball season starts, so look forward to that.
Yeah, there's support your Panthers.
Yeah.
I just want to echo basically everyone's comments up here, and we did sign some critical agreements with resolution this week, and we're looking forward to some good things happening soon, and glad you guys are all here to be a part of it. I have nothing else on top.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing? Okay, so scheduled meetings and events. So Emergency Service Committee will be meeting February 21st at 6 p.m. Community Development Meeting will be meeting February 28th at 6 p.m. Planning and Zoning Committee will be meeting March 7th at 6 p.m. And then our regular town council meeting will be March 14th at 7 p.m.
Just as a note about schedule, we have added Facebook events for all of these meetings on Facebook. So if anyone wants to keep informed, just like our Facebook page, and you should be notified about the events.
Would you mind making a comment on your meeting on Friday
Meeting on Friday, which one?
regarding the police chief?
Oh, yes, I apologize. Friday, there's going to be a public meeting. The police chief applicants will be here and give a short 5-minute presentation about themselves and allow members of the public to ask them any question they like, interact with them. The council will be maybe present, but they won't be asked any questions. It's not a formal meeting. It is just an opportunity for the public to meet and get a read on the applicants. So please do spread the word. We want as many people there.
That's like tomorrow, Friday?
No. Friday, it's the 22nd.
22nd.
I apologize. I'm a little
What
tired,
time?
so sorry. Yeah, it's the 22nd. It's at 7 p.m. They will be here. There will be hors d'oeuvres served and drinks, and we'll try to make it a nice social event so everybody has a chance to informally meet the police chief applicants and form an impression.
There'll be drinks.
Not alcohol.
It's gonna be a big shower, right?
Make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Statico,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:58 p.m. Thank you. Have a good night.
I thought it was, come meet the respective police chiefs, see how they handle